What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? We're going to start the division previews tonight, starting with the American League East. Let's get to it. And what's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? Hello. 37 people to start off the chat. What is going on? How are we doing? A lot of familiar faces yet again. Banana's here. Alec is here. Beatbox Gaming. Travis is here. Jackson, hello. NHOJ Crab, what's going on? Jake McDonald. BZ Baseball, hello. What is going on? Nicholas, what's going on? Banana's here. Chester's here. Boston Red Sox is here. He's ready to talk some Red Sox. That's what I'm talking about. Cash Boss Slap, what's going on? How are we doing? Reese Jones, hello. Edmund19, don't remember if I said your name, but hello. Ben Ferreria, hello. What's going on? Luke Mercer, what's going on? Sky Guy YT. Oh, what is going on here? No, why are these old? I don't understand Streamlabs right now. What are we doing? That is an old donation. Why is this happening? Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. There we go. Alrighty, that's gone now. Alrighty, if I missed anyone, hello, what's going on? How are you guys doing tonight? Hope you're all having a great day. I am ready to talk some AL East. I'm ready to talk some AL East. We're going to get right away, or we're going to start right away here tonight. Division previews. We got the American League East first up. We're going to have the American League Central tomorrow. We're going to have the American League West. What is tomorrow? Wednesday? So Thursday, I'm going to have the American League West. And then next week, I'm going to get into the National League, and we're going to have Jolly Olive on the show. Hopefully everything runs smoothly technology-wise. I have never streamed with another person before, so hopefully my potato brain will be able to handle that. But the plan is to talk with Jolly Olive about the National League East on Monday night, so make sure you guys are here for that. But I figured tonight we start with the American League East. Why not? Let's just get my Red Sox out of the way. Pretty exciting division this year. We had the Yankees have a really good offseason. We had the Blue Jays have a heck of an offseason this year, getting George Springer. We had the Rays do some reshuffling. We had the Orioles do a couple of things. You know, the Red Sox, they had themselves a pretty decent offseason as well. They're looking like a much more competitive team coming into this season. I mean, this American League East, I think, is a lot more open than people think. And we're going to take a look at everything tonight. But before I get started, if I can, we're trying to get to 6K by opening day. I'm seeing 47 of you in the chat right now. I'm starting to see the traffic pick up a little more over the last week or so. Hopefully the traffic continues to pick up. I mean, again, we're not at the Trevor Bauer stream level. Probably going to be a while before we get back to that level again. But man, oh man, it's nice to see some more of you coming out to the streams lately. So if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 6K. We're within 40 subscribers of 6K. So help us out here getting to 6K. Hit that like button for me. That is very, very, very important for the YouTube algorithm. It's going to like that a lot. It's going to get this stream out there to more baseball fans. Go follow me on Twitter as well if you want to talk some more baseball throughout the day. So everyone, let's just dive right into it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not really going to be doing any predictions here. These are not predictions by any means. These are, I mean, maybe you'll kind of maybe see where I'm leaning towards a couple of things. I'm going to be honest with you. My predictions are not set in stone right now. And, you know, I mean, I need more time. I need more time to think about some things. I'm changing my mind. It feels like almost every day. These are strictly previews. These are not predictions. Again, maybe you'll see me leaning one way or the other. We're just going to kind of go through each team. I will go over what I think their chances are of winning the division or, making the playoffs and so on. But these are not my official predictions. I just want to let you know that. So yeah, that's that. But everyone, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with, if I were to give a prediction, I think this team is going to finish near the bottom of the American League East. I'm going to start off with the Baltimore Orioles. It's an interesting team, the Baltimore Orioles. So let's actually go take a look here at Baltimore. Actually, you know what? Real quick, let me actually get into, before I start with the Baltimore Orioles, let's actually go take a look at the PECOTA standings, just real quick, kind of just to get an idea of what the experts out there are thinking. So as of right now, the PECOTA standings, we did talk about the PECOTA standings a little bit ago, but as of right now, they have the Yankees winning the American League East. They have the Rays coming in second. They have the Blue Jays coming in third. They have the Red Sox coming in fourth, and they have the Orioles coming in last. If we actually go take a look at Fangraphs as well, they have their projected standings as well. They don't have it laid out with the divisions, but you can see what teams that they think are going to finish with the best records. They have, Dodgers. They have the Yankees finishing with the second best record at 95 and 67. I feel like the Yankees definitely have a chance of getting some more wins. We'll have to wait and see. But, hold on one second. Why is my iPad not charging? There we go. So they have the Blue Jays coming in next in the American League East. After that, they do have the Red Sox. After that, they have the Rays. And then the Orioles, you're going to see more towards the bottom. They have them finishing with a record of 67 and 95. So let's start off with those Baltimore Orioles. So this Baltimore Orioles team, in my personal opinion, this is kind of just a team to keep an eye on this year with some young players. They got some talent on this team, and I'm actually going to pull up some top prospects that maybe we can keep an eye on as well. I think this Orioles team could be a pesky team. I think this could be kind of like one of those annoying teams to where, maybe they can ruin a team's playoff chances towards the end of the year, because they do have some talent on this team. So let's actually go take a look here. I'm going to start off by just kind of taking a look at the team itself. So sharing the screen here. But if we go take a look at what kind of the big moves that they've done. I mean, they didn't really make a lot of big moves. They did bring in Freddie Galvis. I mean, they brought in Felix Hernandez, but who knows what he's going to be. I think that could be maybe a decent signing where, it was a 1-year low-risk move, but if he ends up having a pretty good first half, who knows, maybe they can get a prospect or two for him at the trade deadline. Maybe he can help a team down the stretch. But they did bring in Freddie Galvis, so that was, kind of whatever. But they got some young players on this team to keep an eye on. The big one for me, Ryan Mountcastle. This is a guy, a lot of power potential. They have him projected for 25 home runs as of right now. Another big name is Trey Mancini, coming back from the cancer scare. And, it's going to be great to see him back. I think he's a very talented player, and I think all of you would agree. A lot of potential there with him, and they're projecting him to have a pretty good season. 25 home runs, a 268 average, 331 on base, a 477 slugging. So hopefully Trey Mancini, the big thing with him, hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully everything is going well. But they also just did bring in Maikel Franco as well. This is a guy where, hey, maybe he could bring something to this team. We'll have to wait and see. If we go take a look, they just recently signed him. When did that? I feel like that was just rather recently, in like the last couple of days. But if we go take a look, he actually had a pretty decent season last year with the Royals. Had the 8 homers, a 278 average, 321 on base, respectable. He actually was pretty decent last year. So going to the Orioles this year, again, I think this Orioles lineup could actually be pretty decent. I mean, you got some power potential in this lineup. Austin Hayes as well. This is another guy to keep an eye on. If we go take a look at how Austin Hayes did last year in a short season, not bad. Not bad. A 279 average, a 328 on base, the 4 homers. Austin Hayes, I think, could be pretty decent. He's only 25 years old. So, again, there's some guys in this lineup where, hey, and then Anthony Santander. How could I forget about Anthony Santander? So, a lot of power potential here with him. Last year, if you take a look at what he did, he had the 11 home runs in only 37 games, hit 261, bit of a low on base, not great by any means. So we'll have to see if that can get a little better. He contributed about a 1 win in 37 games, but this year they are projecting him What are they projecting him for? On Zips for 2021, they have him at 26 homers, 92 RBIs, 30 homers on Steamer. I think Anthony Santander, look out for him if he can just stay healthy. This is a guy where, hey, this lineup actually has some thump in it, and that's where I think, this lineup could be kind of annoying to deal with a little bit. So, I don't think it's going to be an easy win, especially if maybe a pitching staff is not as strong. So this Orioles team, I think, could be pretty pesky. The problem with the Orioles is they just don't have any starting pitching. I mean, there's just no starting pitching here. You got John Means. I mean, maybe he could have himself a bounce-back year. Going to take a look at John Means here. So if we go take a look at how he did in 2020, he had the 10 starts. I mean, a 4.5 ERA and a 5.6 FIP. Not that great, but I don't know. If you take a look at what he did in 2019, he was actually decent. The FIP was a lot higher than the ERA, but again, not a lot of strikeout numbers. He does keep the walks down. The home runs jumped up this past year. This is not really much here with the starting pitching. If we go take a look, one name maybe to keep an eye out for is Grayson Rodriguez, their number 2 prospect. If we go take a look at the numbers he's put up in the minor leagues, as of right now, they're projecting him for the 2022 season. However, in the minor leagues so far, over 28 starts, he's 10-6, has a 2.46 ERA, decent amount of strikeouts. I mean, maybe this is a name that we see at some point this year, depending on how he does in the minor leagues this year. I mean, they got some guys here. I mean, and of course, I'm focusing on the pitching right there, but Adley Rutschman, could we maybe see the debut of an Adley Rutschman this year at some point? This could be the kind of a year where, hey, this Orioles team's not looking too good. Maybe this guy ends up hitting well in the minor leagues, and after a couple of months, and they say, you know what? Hey, this season's a lost cause. Let's just bring this guy up. Let's just start getting him used to the major leagues. And then, you know what? But overall, I just don't really think there's really much here with this team. I did talk about Cesar Valdez and my possible breakout players, which is a very odd one because Cesar Valdez is 36 years old. However, the guy put up some pretty stupid advanced numbers last year, some really good movement on some of his pitches. A journeyman throughout his career in the minor leagues, just never really was able to get it going in the major leagues. Finally made it back this past year, and he ended up doing really good. So look out for Cesar Valdez. Maybe he could be a trade deadline candidate. Again, kind of one of these odd sort of very, very, very late bloomers with him. There's also Cole Sulser. He had some pretty good advanced numbers last year. Keep an eye out for him. Tanner Scott, they're projecting him to have a pretty decent season this year, 3.64 ERA. I mean, so maybe there's some guys in this, in this bullpen that maybe emerge. We'll have to wait and see. But again, I'm not looking for the Orioles to do a lot this year. I think we can all agree that this Orioles team is probably not really ready quite yet to go after a division. But I still think there's a lot of fun players on this team. They got some fun prospects maybe to keep an eye out for. They did just draft Heston Kjerstad this past year, who maybe, I'm not saying he's going to get to the major leagues, but hey, maybe he ends up having a pretty decent year in the minor leagues. Have to keep an eye out on him. So they got some fun things to keep an eye on. I just don't think they're really going to be quite there. I will say, though, this team has pesky team written all over it, especially with this offense. There's a lot of power in this offense. We'll have to wait and see. So, another thing to know, I didn't mention earlier, they did trade away Alex Cobb to the Angels. They did bring back Jahmai Jones in there. So, hey, we'll have to maybe see, can he contribute something this year? I have to wait and see. But this Orioles team, I'm thinking probably going to be last. I'm not really seeing too much from this Orioles team. Again, pesky team, but I just don't think it's really a competitive team. So I'd love to see what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you think in the chat. Where do you think the Orioles are going to finish? 5th, 4th, 3rd? Do you think maybe they could be the shock of the 2021 season? Maybe win the division? Tell me what you think down below in the comments. Where do you guys think? Put a 5 for 5th place, a 4, a 3. Tell me where you think. So, and I'll look at the chat here for a second. Jesse Burns, I hear the Braves are about to call up Pablo Sandoval. Oh my God, top prospect, Pablo Sandoval. Keep an eye out for Pablo Sandoval this year. Jackson looking for the 2nd place finish. That's what I'm talking about. MLB zone with a -21. That's what I'm talking about. Man, oh man. A lot of 5th place here. Jackson is the only one with a 2nd so far. Travis, I know, man. Pablo Sandoval. Look out for Pablo Sandoval. Jake, hey, maybe they could get a fourth place finish. Maybe a team like the Red Sox end up just completely stinking up the place. Maybe the Rays completely fall off the face of the earth. Maybe they finish last. And maybe the Orioles, maybe they could sneak into a fourth place finish. Hey, Maple Stubbs with the World Series win. I'm all about it. I'm all about these out of the box picks. So Jackson actually changes his mind to first. Jackson has the Orioles winning the AL East this year. So everyone throughout the season, hey, make sure you remind Jackson that he has picked the Orioles to win the AL East. So by the end of the season, we'll have to see if Jackson was correct. So Jackson, I appreciate the prediction, my friend. Alrighty, Yogi Dude, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Hello. We are talking some AL East. Here we go. Moving on. And again, I don't really have these in a particular order. I kind of just... these are not like the way I think these are going to finish. So I just started off with the Orioles. Again, these are not my predictions. So moving on here. Next up, we're going to talk about a team that was just in the World Series this past year, the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Tampa Bay Rays, this is interesting. This is an interesting team to keep an eye out for this year. It's really hard for me right now to kind of gauge where the Rays are. I'm still not quite sure what they're going to be. I still haven't fully decided. I will say, though, with the Tampa Bay Rays, I will say I definitely did not give the Rays last year really a chance to. I didn't in the short season. I didn't even have the Rays making the playoffs last year. I had them barely missing the playoffs, but that was. And then they announced like the whole what do you call it? The 8 playoff spots for each round or for each league, and it ended up being the Rays won the division anyway. So I completely swung and missed on the Rays last year. I was more worried about the offense. However, that pitching really carried them this past year. But if we go take a look at the Rays this year, right now, if we take a look at the rotation, this is kind of the big one about this Rays offseason, trading away Blake Snell to the San Diego Padres. So now, if you're taking a look here, and then also Charlie Morton is now on the Atlanta Braves, and now you look at the starting rotation and you're seeing some names here and you're thinking, man, oh man, what the heck happened to these Tampa Bay Rays? This team had like an incredible big three. They had a Glasnow, a Morton, and a Snell. I mean, that was pretty nasty. And now it's just down to Glasnow. And in my opinion, I'm not like huge on Tyler Glasnow just because... I mean, obviously, he is nasty, but the guy only has 2 pitches. I don't know. I'm just not, like, too big on him. I think for him to be... I think he's a very good starting pitcher, but to me, for him to be, like, this elite guy, for him to be an ace of a staff, I think he needs a third pitch. I think he just needs something else. You can only go so far with a fastball and a curveball. I don't care how nasty they are. You can only go so far as a starting pitcher. I mean, if you look at the guy, doesn't go deep into games very often, which ends up helping out, or which ends up not really being too big of a deal just because the Rays have always had a really good bullpen. So it ends up being fine. However, for Tyler Glasnow, in my opinion, to really be like the guy of this pitching staff, he needs a third pitch. If we take a look at how he's done so far in spring training, as of right now, he's had 2 starts. He's already given up a home run this year. I mean, he's, 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings so far. Not too much of a sample size so far. However, he's striking out a lot of guys this spring. But if you take a look, he's walking a lot of guys so far this spring. And again, that's another thing with Glasnow. It's not just the fact that he has the 2 pitches. The walks tend to be kind of high with him. I need to see more out of him for the Rays to really be like this team that can go deep into the playoffs again. I think you need a Glasnow to be just more of a complete guy. I don't know. So as of right now, Pacoda, they do have the Rays finishing in second. They have them at an 11% chance. That's interesting. So I actually feel like I kind of agree with the record. I'm not going to say they're going to finish ahead of the Blue Jays. I'm not saying that right now. But I do think maybe you could see the Rays finish with this kind of a record. I definitely think that's possible. If we take a look on Fangraphs, they have the Rays right now finishing with a record of 84-78. I think that sounds about right for this team. I could see anywhere from like 83 to maybe like 87 wins. I could see a team like that, but then I could also see a team, again, just completely just prove everyone wrong again, to where this team who could get more than 90 wins if everything comes together. I don't know. I still love a lot of what this Rays team has. As a Red Sox fan, I can't stand it. But if we take a look, Austin Meadows, he had a down year last year. I love Brandon Lau. I am so glad I am coming into this season knowing how to pronounce this guy's name. I was calling him Brandon Lowe, and I was getting so much crap from everyone last year. Brandon Lau, I am so glad I'm off on the right foot heading into 2021 with Brandon Lau and how to say his name. Randy Arozarena completely exploded in the playoffs. Ji-Man Choi, always a pretty solid bat, always a pretty good clubhouse guy. Manuel Margot, you know what you're going to get with him. The defense, you're going to get some pretty decent offense. The power, just because Randy Arozarena went on a tear power-wise in the playoffs, a lot of people forget Manuel Margot is actually having a pretty good postseason this past year. He was hitting for some power too. The guy had 1 home run last year during the regular season, and he started hitting home runs all over the place in the postseason. Joey Wendell, I like Joey Wendell. I think he's a solid guy. Willy Adames, this is a guy where I feel a lot of people are kind of thinking like Willy Adames could be a guy that maybe the Rays could trade. But I still think there's a lot really here to like with Willy Adames. I mean, 2019, he had the 20 home runs. He had 8 home runs last year in a short season. The on-base was better this past year from 2019. The slugging was better. I think Willy Adames is still a pretty solid guy to have on your team. I'm seeing a lot of, just because they do have Wander Franco, so I can understand where maybe Willy Adames' name comes up in trade rumors, but I don't think you need to get rid of this guy. I still think he's a really solid guy to have in your lineup. He's decent in the field. Kevin Kiermaier, you're going to get some solid fielding with him. Zunino, good defense, not really too much for the bat, some power. But in this past year, this past offseason, they brought in Francisco Mejia in the Blake Snell trade. Brasso's coming back. Sasugo's coming back. That's some power. But again, really, I think the offense has talent. It's just their starting rotation where I just wonder about the starting rotation. Again, I have my concerns with Glasnow. I think he's really good, but is he elite? I don't know. I'm not going to call him elite. Rich Hill, I love me some Rich Hill, but is this guy going to be able to stay on the mound? I don't know. He's 41 years old. He can never just seem to stay healthy, and he's only getting older. I have to wait and see. Chris Archer, this is a fun one coming back to the Rays. Chris Archer this past year, I don't think he pitched this past year, actually, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, he did not pitch this past year. Did he have surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome? So we'll have to see. Is that going to help him? Let's actually take a look. Chris Archer. Do we have some stats so far on Chris Archer? This is where I kind of like to look at the spring stats a little bit, to where kind of see like how a guy may be bouncing back from, coming off of a surgery or coming off of like a down season. Chris Archer is a guy where he makes a lot of sense to me to pay attention to in spring training. As I'm seeing right now, he's only had 1 start. He's had 1 start. He pitched an inning and a third, so it looks like they just got him going. Is there a way to pull up his game log? Let's take a look here. Chris Archer. When did he pitch? Is there anything going on with him? Is he hurt or anything? Because that's kind of weird that he only has an inning. Oh, so he just had his debut the other day. Okay, so he just had his debut. Again, it was that inning. Pretty cool to see him back in that Rays hat again. Every time I think of Chris Archer, I always think of just Archer on the Rays. Chris Archer to me is a Tampa Bay Ray. But if we take a look at the game log, let's go take a look at that line. So, it's fine. Didn't give up a hit in that inning and a third of work. Struck out a guy. So this is a guy where could he get back to what he was? It's going to be really interesting with him. If we take a look at what he's done in the past, taking a look, 2019 was a bummer of a season for him. ERA in the fives, the FIP in the fives. However, 2018, he was pretty decent. He had a 3.75 FIP. That's pretty good. The strikeouts have always been good with Chris Archer. Can he kind of just get back to what he was doing back in 2017, 2018? That would be a big lift for this rotation. I think Tampa Bay, I think they're bouncing. I think they're counting on a bounce back season from him. Ryan Yarbrough, that's, a guy to me is like a swingman kind of a guy. Back end of the rotation kind of a guy. Michael Wacha is an interesting one. I think Michael Wacha has bounce back potential in him. He did have some bright spots last year with the Mets. He did see an increase in the strikeouts, and he kind of lowered the walks, but the guy was still really hittable last year, giving up a lot of runs, a lot of hits. But there were some things to be a little happy about with Michael Wacha. Again, he increased his strikeouts. He lowered his walks. However, he started giving up more home runs. So can he maybe put it all together this year and end up having a pretty decent season for the Rays? I think the Rays, really what I think they're counting on, you got to think, they lost Snell and they lost Morton, so they're bringing in these guys like Hill, Archer, Wacha. I think they're gonna need these three guys to really step up for them. At least two of these guys. I think they could afford for Hill to maybe not be on top of his game too much, or if he's gonna miss some time. But if they can get Archer and Wacha to maybe get like 25 to 30 starts each, maybe ERA, maybe in the threes, in the fours. I don't know. That might be asking a little much, but I think they have the potential. I think Wacha has the potential to have his ERA in the fours. I think Archer has the potential to get back to what he was doing, especially if he's healthy. We'll have to wait and see, but they're projected for decent numbers. But the big strength of this Rays team, it's going to be the bullpen. The bullpen, they got guys just all over the place that can just throw gas. Pete Fairbanks, Nick Anderson, that's just lights out right there. Diego Castillo was really good in the playoffs. You had guys like Ryan Thompson, Chaz Rowe. There's a lot. Colin McHugh they also brought in too. I completely forgot about Colin McHugh. Could this be a guy where he goes into the starting rotation? We'll have to wait and see. They also did bring back a guy to keep an eye out for in the Blake Snell trade. They brought back Luis Patino. So Luis Patino, where do they have Patino right now? Let's actually go take a look at the Rays prospects. Here we go, Tampa Bay Rays. All right, so as you can see here, Wander Franco is a guy, I think you could see him this year. I definitely think there's a really good chance you could see him this year. He's already had some pretty good numbers in the minor leagues. The guy's an on-base machine in the minor leagues. He's been hitting. He was just designated to the alternate site just recently, so he was one of the cuts. However, if we go take a look at Wander Franco, let's take a look at how he did in this spring training. Why is my computer running slow? No, not that Wander Franco. Come on. Here we go. This Wander Franco. So, 2021 spring training. How was he doing? So this spring, he was hitting pretty well. Had a 294 average, had the home run. The on base was a little low, but the guy was getting hits. He had 5 hits and 17 at-bats. So I think they maybe kind of just want him to go back to the minor leagues, at least for a little bit. I think this is a guy you could see at some point, maybe by midseason. I wouldn't doubt that. This is a guy you can kind of plug in. They had him playing some third. He can play some short. Could they maybe plug him in the outfield a little bit? Maybe. He's a pretty athletic guy. So keep an eye out for Wander Franco. Luis Patino, keep an eye out for. He was just pitching with the Padres last year in the major leagues. So could they just throw in Patino? I think you could see Patino maybe come up, maybe get a couple of starts, but this is a guy you could put in that bullpen. Another guy that can throw some gas. Look out for Vidal Brujan, too. This is a guy, uber athletic guy. Could you see him get some action this year? Shane McClanahan, we already saw him in the playoffs last year. Cole Wilcox, I think, is a guy that maybe you could see. He just got drafted this past year, but the guy throws gas. The Rays love these guys that can throw gas. Cole Wilcox, just pitching in college as of late. So maybe that's one guy you could see come up this year. A bit of a long shot, but maybe. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on how he does in the minor leagues. However, this Rays team, it's a little hard for me right now. I think they definitely will finish with at least 80 wins. 85? I don't know. I think they have the potential to have 85 wins. I think they have the potential to have 90 wins. I think this team is really good. It's just, where are these other teams in the division going to be? I'm not quite sure. I think they're going to be a good team. It's just a matter of, what are these other teams going to do? Where are these other teams going to finish? We'll have to wait and see. I think the Rays could be, because they lost Snell, and because they traded away Snell and they let Morton go, I think a lot of people are writing off this team, but the Rays, they do well at just plugging guys in and they find success. So they still have a good manager in Kevin Cash. You can say what you want, myself included, about the whole Blake Snell thing in the playoffs, but the guy's a good manager. He fits well with what they're doing there. So I have to wait and see what this Rays team does. Bit of an interesting team this year. I think this could be a dark horse kind of a team that definitely you could see them. I think you could see them go for a division. I think you definitely could see them in a wild card game. Absolutely. So I have to wait and see. Where do you guys think the Rays are going to finish? Let me know in the chat. I think this is one of the more interesting teams. Tell me where you think they're going to finish. Do you think they're going to finish 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd? Do you think they could win the division? Let me know what you think. BZ Baseball with a 3rd place finish. MLB Zone 3rd. Seeing a lot of 3rds so far. 4th place team. Offense is weak. Rotation is weak. Yeah, Edmund, I definitely think they're a weaker team than they were last year. It's just a matter of, where are they going to be able to, can they find that magic again? I think it's possible. Oh my God, Jake McDonald with the breaking news. Pablo Sandoval Jr. has signed with the Boston Red Sox. I wish it was Pablo Sandoval, but Pablo Sandoval Jr. I'm okay with. 3rd place for Redman, or a sneaky 2nd place team. I think this could be a sneaky team yet again. I definitely think this Rays team could be very, very sneaky. So Noah with a 4th place finish. Nahawan, what's going on? How are we doing? Alrighty, so let's move on. Alrighty, here we go. The team that I have been waiting to talk about, the team that I think is going to win it all this year, the Boston Red Sox. I'm kidding. I don't know if they're going to win it all this year. I don't think they're going to. But this is an interesting team. I'm going to be as very unbiased here. You guys know me. I picked the Yankees to win the whole thing last year. So you know me. I am not biased. At least I try not to be. So the Boston Red Sox. This is an interesting team. Let's go take a look here. Let's see where Pacoda has them. So as of right now, Pacoda has them at 80 and 82. They have them with a 1% chance to make the playoffs. If we take a look at Fangraphs, Fangraphs likes the Red Sox a little more. Fangraphs right now has them with an 85 and 77 record. I think the Red Sox have the potential for that. I've watched a lot of Red Sox teams over the years. I don't hate this team. I like this team. I think Chaim Bloom, it was a slow start to the offseason, but Chaim Bloom really started to make a lot of good moves for this Red Sox team. Let's go take a look here. The Red Sox, they made some moves. Here we go. I actually want to take a look. Let's take a look at all the moves that the Red Sox made. So if we take a look at the additions, it was mainly free agent additions, a lot of free agent signings. Take a look here. The first one they had was Hunter Renfroe. Then they added Matt Andriese. Then they added Daniel Gossett at one point, the signing of the offseason, if you ask me. They brought in Garrett Richards. Okay. They brought in a Kike Hernandez. Where is Kike Hernandez on this list? Why is he not on this list? But they brought in a Marwin Gonzalez. They brought in a Hirokazu Sawamura, who has, so far, not a great spring training, but the guy has some pretty decent stuff. Throws in the high 90s, has a good splitter. Just recently brought in Danny Santana as well. They made some decent signings here. Garrett Richards was off to a pretty poor start in spring training. However, he did have a really good start the other day. Struck out 7 guys over 4 innings. So Garrett Richards had it working the other day. This is going to be an interesting team. This is like the Rays. This is kind of a hard team. I've seen teams like this in the past. This team really reminds me of kind of like the 2010 Red Sox a little bit, where they had talent, but I'm worried that they're going to kind of finish kind of like that team where they didn't have a lot of depth. What the Red Sox have done with this team is they've added a lot of flexibility. Like I said, they added a Kike Hernandez. They added a Marwin Gonzalez. These are two guys, they can move around, and they still have a Michael Chavis. They got Michael Geddes as well. That's a name to keep an eye out for. They have a Christian Arroyo. They got some guys that can move around. So what the Red Sox are doing here, they know they don't have a lot of depth, so I like the strategy that they took this offseason in adding a lot of flexibility. So when I look at this team, like I said, I really see a lot of the 2010 Red Sox. Good players on the team, some flexibility, but I kind of wonder if this is kind of what they're going to be looking like. Sort of like I don't even know if they're going to be even this good, because this 2010 Red Sox team was pretty good. 89-73. They finished third that year in the American League East. I kind of see a lot of this team where if we go take a look at this team, I mean, it was a good offense, right? Why is my computer frozen? Come on. So they had a good offense that year. They had guys like, Kevin Youkilis, Pedroia, they had Beltre that year, David Ortiz. But then they kind of had some weird names as well, like a Marco Scutaro, and they had JD Drew too. They had like Daniel Nava, Mike Lowell was on that team. They had Jed Lowry, they had Mike Cameron. Remember him? Who remembers Ryan Kalish? Who remembers Ryan Kalish? This was a guy that was going to be like the next Trot Nixon, and he ended up falling off. But then if you go take a look at the pitching that year, again, it was kind of like, they didn't really get a lot from the whole pitching staff that year. John Lester had a really good year that year. Buckles was good. But again, it was kind of like John Lackey wasn't great. Dice K wasn't great. Beckett was not good that year. Wakefield, the bullpen was pretty good. But I see a lot of this team. I see a lot of it. Like, you got some guys in the lineup that are really good. They have a good lineup. But if you look at the rotation as well, they got some decent names. I think that 2010 Red Sox pitching staff had more talent. But this team, they have talent but I don't know. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough to get a playoff spot? I'm not quite sure. But this team, again, reminds me of the 2010 Red Sox, where there is talent there, but is it going to be enough? I do like some of the other. They also added Adam Ottavino too. Completely forgot about him. I think he's going to be pretty good. I think there's a lot of names in this Red Sox bullpen that could really emerge. I think the key for this Red Sox team, so like with the Rays, I think, can they get their starting pitching stabilized this year? I think for the Red Sox, the key for the Red Sox this year, are they just going to have guys that can find their roles, and they can kind of just get into a flow? Can they get into kind of going blank on the word right now? Can they get into like a rhythm? I think this team has the potential, but are they going to be able to get it going? So that's the only thing. Again, with the lineup, there's a lot to like about this lineup. You got Verdugo there. Bogart's one of the best shortstops in the game. Devers, one of the best offensive players in the game. I don't think he's very good at defensively on third. JD Martinez had a really down year last year, but we all know JD Martinez can be really good. Christian Vasquez, I think, is one of the best catchers in the game. Hunter Renfroe, a lot of power from him. They brought in Franchy Cordero in for the Andrew Benintendi trade. Can he end up getting something going with this team? I think a lot of people, when they think of a Franchy Cordero, I think they kind of get those Willie Mo Pena vibes from back in the day when they made the infamous trade of Bronson Arroyo for Willie Mo Pena. That trade still pains me deeply. Again, I think a lot of people kind of look at Franchy Cordero as like this raw power kind of guy. Is he going to be another Willie Mo Pena? I really am excited to see what Bobby Dahlbeck can do. My opinion, such a great Boston name, Bobby Dahlbeck. I love that name. Kike Hernandez, this is going to be a guy that moves around. I like the Marwin Gonzalez move. I think Christian Arroyo is a pretty underrated guy. Look out for Michael Chavis. I think he can be pretty good. I think there's a lot of potential with this team. I think this team could make it to a wild card game. I think the Rays could also make it to a wild card game. I think this team has the potential. Are they going to have enough? That is the question. Right now, I'm not quite sure. The starting pitching, I'm a little iffy with. It's not the best. I think Erod, it's going to be great to see him back. But Eduardo Rodriguez, I don't know. Like, what are you going to get out of him? They're projecting him for a 4.31 ERA. I think that sounds about right. Coming back from missing all of last year. Garrett Richards, I think, is a bit of a wild card. I think you could see him with an ERA in like the low 4s. I think that's possible. Martin Perez, I'm not the biggest Martin Perez fan, but he's been having a good spring training. We'll have to wait and see. To me, Martin Perez, he's like a 5th or 4th guy. Nick Pivetta, I think, is a guy, he could surprise some people this year. He gives me, I wouldn't say to this level, but he gives me Jake Arrieta kind of vibes where he goes to a new team. He has good stuff, but can he put it together? I don't think he's going to be a Jake Arrieta by any means, but he gives me those vibes of the potential. I'm not going to say that's what he is, but I think there's a lot to like with this Red Sox team. Again, I see a lot of the 2010 Red Sox. That's what I see. I see a good team. I see a decent team, but I just wonder, are they going to fall short? That's what I'm wondering. I just feel like I like what they did adding the flexibility. I just don't think they're quite there yet to be a team that can really make a deep run. Could they make a wild card game? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. So tell me what you think in the chat down below. Hopefully I didn't ramble on about the Red Sox too much. Tell me where you think the Red Sox are going to finish. Do you think the Red Sox are going to finish 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd? Do you think they could shock the world? And Tanner Houck too. Thank you, Boston Red Sox. Left him off. As of right now, Tanner Houck, he's probably going to go to the alternate camp to start the year. He's probably going to go to AAA to start the year, according to reports. So Tanner Houck, again, very similar to Glasnow I'm not comparing him to Tyler Glasnow, but similar to where he does also need to develop a third pitch. So have to wait and see. But seeing a lot of fourths. And MLB Zone, yes, thank you so much for. I'm leaving out Chris Sale in this. I mean, you know what? That's actually fair to talk about. How could I not talk about Chris Sale? Right now, if we go take a look, when I'm thinking of this team right now, I'm thinking of just what we have right now. And so Chris Sale, I don't know if we're going to see Chris Sale this year. I don't know. We saw him have Tommy John surgery a year ago. Usually it takes around 14 to 15 months to recover from. It really depends. Blue Jays today, a very solid two guys. They talk Blue Jays all the time. Go follow them if you're a Blue Jays fan, or even if you're just a baseball fan. Go follow Blue Jays Today. Very solid channel. I think they're almost at around 2,000 subscribers. So if you are a Blue Jays fan, go take a look at them. But they were talking today, saying where Chris Sale, he could come back maybe around like July or so. But if the Red Sox are not in it, are they going to push for him to come back? I mean, they've already pretty much said that they're going to be conservative with a Chris Sale. It really depends. It just really depends on where this team is going to be. If they're in it, if they're within a couple of games of a wild card spot, I think you could see Chris Sale. Chris Sale is a bulldog. He's a competitor. He's going to want to come back. He's going to want to pitch at some point this year. Are they going to let him pitch? We're going to have to wait and see. They're going to be conservative with him. The question is, how soon could he come back? Again, I think you could see him after the All-Star break. Again, it really just depends on where the Red Sox are at. If they're in contention, I think you see a Chris Sale. If they're out of it, I think maybe you see him get a few starts in September and have him kind of, get a few starts under his belt again and then really go in for next season. So Chris Sale is an interesting one to keep an eye out for. Have to wait and see. So again, I didn't really dive into Chris Sale too much just because I'm looking at what the Red Sox have now. But it is an intriguing thing to think about. If the Red Sox are in it, if they're in contention for a wild card spot, and you have Chris Sale come in after like July, like if he comes in for August and then he pitches down the stretch, I mean, that could be pretty good if you ask me. I think it's going to. Are we live? Are we here? I'm seeing people saying lag. Are we here? I'm still seeing 52 people in the chat. Oh, thank goodness, man. I don't know what's been going on with this internet lately. It's been wackadoodle lately. All right, cool. We're doing okay. But all right, everyone, let's move on. I think that was Streamlabs' way of or my internet's way of telling me, Robbie, stop talking about the Red Sox. Let's move on. But anyway, let's move on here. So we've talked about the Orioles. We've talked about the Rays. We've talked about the Red Sox. Let's get to the two teams that really made some noise this past offseason. One in particular, I'm going to talk about next. This team had a heck of an offseason, and that is the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a team I think is very excited. I know BZ Baseball is jumping up and down in the chat right now. He's saying, thank goodness Robbie is done talking about his Red Sox so he can talk about my Toronto Blue Jays. This is a fun team. There's a lot to like about this team. So let's go take a look. Here we go. Looking at PECOTA. Let's see where they have the Toronto Blue Jays as of right now. So let's look at PECOTA. Let's look at the Fangraphs projections for them this year. Sharing the screen. Here we go. So let's look at PECOTA first. Hey, PECOTA likes them. Now, are they a worse team than the Rays? I think the Rays are better in some areas. But I think the Blue Jays, they have their own strengths as well. It's going to be this Blue Jays team is interesting. I think there's a ton of potential. This is one of those teams where they are a winner this offseason, an absolute winner, bringing in George Springer. They were one of the winners this offseason, absolutely. Behind you got the San Diego Padres, who had a heck of an offseason. The New York Mets had a heck of an offseason. The Yankees also had a good offseason. But the Blue Jays had a great offseason. So the question is this team, are they going to be one of those teams that won the offseason and then just fall short? Now, I think there's I think a lot of people tend to go back and forth with the Blue Jays. From what I've noticed, I see a lot of people think that the Blue Jays, they're a team that could win the East. But then I'm seeing a lot of people say that, I don't know, the Blue Jays, they don't have enough, they don't have enough of this, they don't have enough of that. So I'm seeing two different sides of the Blue Jays right now. I think everyone agrees that they're going to be a good team. It's how good of a team are they going to be? Let's just talk about the first thing here. I mean, this offense is absolutely insane. This is nuts. I mean, the offense is incredible. I think we can all agree that this offense is absolutely incredible. George Springer, adding him this past offseason, biggest Blue Jays signing in history. Marcus Semien, I mean, this guy, if you get back to 2019, Marcus Semien, I mean, he was okay at times last year. It took him a while to get it going. In the playoffs, he started hitting. Bo Bichette, get him back healthy this year. I mean, look at the offense. This is nuts. Teoscar Hernandez was having an MVP caliber season. Vlad Jr., can he finally break out? He lost some weight this past offseason. He's looking pretty good. Power is still looking pretty good, even with the weight loss. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., one of the best contracts in the game. Kevin Biggio, he's got another year under his belt. Rowdy Tellez had a heck of a year last year. I mean, they got so much firepower in this offense. It's incredible. This offense is nasty. The only thing about this Blue Jays team and they also added Kirby Yates for the bullpen. I really like that move for the bullpen. They've added Steven Matz as well. They brought back Robbie Ray. Hyun-Jin Ryu, we all know they brought in from last year. I like the pitching. I think you can argue. I think the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, they're very similar with their starting pitching. I think the Blue Jays, you could say, have a little bit more. Again, it's kind of like, the Blue Jays have these guys where the Red Sox pitching staff is different, where they have their strengths in their pitching staff, where the Blue Jays, I think you could say, I don't know. I'm still going back and forth with these two teams a little bit. I think the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, at least on paper, are a lot more even than people think. And that's just my opinion. You can definitely disagree with me if you want. But I think pitching, I think these teams are very similar to where I think the Blue Jays have an edge with the offense. I like the offense with the Blue Jays. There's a ton of firepower in that offense. But the starting pitching, Hyun-Jin Ryu, I love Hyun-Jin Ryu. I think he's one of the best guys in the game. But then after that, you got Robbie Ray, where they're projecting him for a bounce back year. This guy's going to get a ton of strikeouts. Can he get back to being Robbie Ray. That's the only thing. Again, you're going to get a ton of strikeouts, but you're going to get a lot of walks. Can he kind of get back to what he was doing from 2015 or 2016 to 2017? I think if you could get Robbie Ray, like 2017 Robbie Ray, where, yeah, fine, like 3 to 4 walks per 9, but 12 strikeouts per 9. If you can get this Robbie Ray, I think you're in pretty good shape. Now, you could even say, even if they got the 2019 Robbie Ray, 12 strikeouts per 9, a little over 4 walks per 9, ERA in the low 4s, FIP in the low 4s. The XFIP with Robbie Ray has always been really good, except for this past year. Something happened with him this past year. He lost a lot of control, issuing a lot of walks. The home runs were up. I don't know. Robbie Ray is an interesting one, and right now he's listed as the number 2 guy. So that's where I'm almost like thinking, I kind of like the Red Sox pitching staff better. I mean, sure, you got a Hyun-Jin Ryu, but after that, it's just a lot of question marks. Tanner Roark, he was good in the National League, but in 2019 he was with the A's at 1.2, had a decent season, but Tanner Roark to me is like a 4. He's like a 3 or a 4, but then this past year he really stunk with the Blue Jays. Not very good. New team, new environment, new catcher. I think he'll be better in 2021, but I don't know, man. Like, is it going to be enough starting pitching? I kind of worry about the starting pitching depth. Steven Matz is another guy. Like, they brought in Steven Matz. This guy has the potential for bounce back kind of a guy, but I don't know. Like, this past year was horrible. I don't know. It's just, the strikeouts were there, but he was giving up 4 home runs per 9. That's really bad. So, again, can you kind of get Steven Matz to kind of maybe get back to that 2018 ERA Steven Matz? But even the FIP was kind of high that year. 2016 was Steven Matz's best year overall. Even like the strikeouts weren't really great. I don't know. Steven Matz is an odd one to me. Ross Stripling, I do like Ross Stripling, but he wasn't really good this past year either. So, I don't know, man. 2020, if we take a look at the numbers, I've always liked Ross Stripling. Always thought he was really solid, kind of a swingman kind of a guy, but this last year, something happened with him this past year. So, I don't know. This Blue Jays team, I think you could say, yes, they do have the ace with Hyun-Jin Ryu. I think they need one more guy to go with a Hyun-Jin Ryu. I thought Trevor Bauer would have been a pretty good move. I don't know. I don't know how really in on him they were, but I do worry about this rotation. I think Robbie Ray could have a pretty good year. I think Hyun-Jin Ryu, again, I think he's going to be pretty solid. Don't forget about Hyun-Jin Ryu as well. I'm not trying to, hate all over this pitching staff right now, but Hyun-Jin Ryu, remember, just back in 2018, he was missing a lot of starts. 2017, he was missing a lot of starts. 2016, didn't even pitch. 2015, or he barely pitched. 2015, he missed all of 2015. He has an injury-riddled past. Is he going to be able to keep it going this year? How old is Ryu now? He's about to turn 34 years old. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I feel like they needed another guy. And I'm worried about the starting rotation with the Blue Jays. I think there's a lot of potential with this rotation. I think Robbie Ray can have a good year. I think Tanner Roark can have a good year. But Steven Matz, I even think, could be decent this year. I don't know. I'm worried about the starting pitching with the Blue Jays. I hate to kind of rain on the Blue Jays parade here because this offense is stupid. Don't even argue with me about this offense. This offense is dumb. I hate looking at this offense. Because that's why I think the Red Sox and Blue Jays, when they go head-to-head this year, I think they're going to be a lot of fun games this year. I think these two teams are pretty even. I think the Blue Jays, I would say right now, I do like their lineup better than the Red Sox. Just like I said, look at the firepower in this lineup. It's just the starting pitching. I don't know. The bullpen, I do like some guys in the bullpen. I do like some of these guys in the bullpen. Kirby Yates, I love Kirby Yates. However, had the bone spurs this past offseason or this past year, got the surgery to take those out. How's he going to do? Can he get back to being the old Kirby Yates? I will say one thing about Kirby Yates. I'm just saying, Kirby Yates, last time he was in the American League, I know it's been a while. But the last time he was in the American League, he was not really too good. So when he went to the National League, you started seeing way better numbers. Incredible. So anyway, it's been quite a few years now since then. He's definitely improved. But can he get back to 2019 Kirby Yates, 2018 Kirby Yates? We'll have to wait and see. American League, he's going to be around a lot of good offenses in the American League now. I'm not saying he wasn't before in the National League, but I mean, come on. You're going to Fenway Park with the Green Monster. You're going to Yankee Stadium with that, the short porch in right field. You're going to have to go up against a pesky Rays team in Tropicana. Baltimore has a lot of power in that lineup. I mean, you're having to face these lineups go to the Central. You got the White Sox out there. You got the Twins. There's a lot of good offenses in this American League. Kirby Yates, can he get back to that level that he was in 2019? I do like Kirby Yates. I love Kirby Yates, but I do like some of these other guys. Like Jordan Romano was pretty good last year. They did bring in Tyler Chatwood. I mean, can he maybe find a role in middle relief? I think their bullpen is still a little iffy. I think they need to fill out some roles. And Nate Pearson as well. How am I forgetting? I'm so sorry. I'm forgetting about Nate Pearson too. Nate Pearson, as of right now, he was having some groin problems this past year. Let's go take a look actually at Nate Pearson. How did I go so blank on Nate Pearson? So the reason they don't, I'm such a visual person. When I was looking at this, I'm very like, when I look at it and it's right in front of me, that's what I see. But I'm not seeing Nate Pearson right here. So I'm going like completely blank on him. But again, I'm not really going to say he's going to be like this savior of the Blue Jays rotation. I think he could be good. So I mean, but he's how old is this guy now? He's 24, he's about to turn 25. He had some pretty good flashes last year of some brilliance. He throws hard. He's got gas. Can he be this guy, though, that you can count on for a full season? I don't know. If we take a look at the spring training stats so far, he's only had one game. He pitched an inning, and he hurt his groin in that game. So I'm not sure. What is the news on Nate Pearson? Nate Pearson, groin. So, he suffered a setback. Oh, this was today. Oh, I didn't even see this. Blue Jays rotation depth to be tested as Nate Pearson suffers a setback with a groin injury. Oh, well, that's not good news. Oh, I'm telling you, I said this before. I said this when he had the initial groin injury. I said this to you all live. I said groin injuries can be pesky. I had a pretty decent groin injury one time. I was doing squats and I tore my groin. It completely popped, and that took me a little while to come back from. I was feeling that groin for months. I was able to kind of get back to what I was doing after a couple of weeks, but I mean, this is different. I mean, pitching, that's a lot different. You're having to run around and stuff like that too. So, this is going to be interesting. So Nate Pearson, if he can't go a lot, I think if you're a Blue Jays fan, you got to kind of go into this season without really thinking of a Nate Pearson right now. And he can be kind of like that wild card that can kind of jump in at some point. So, again, I like a lot of this Blue Jays team. I do. I really do. This lineup, like I've said a million times so far, this lineup is dumb. And I mean that in a good way. This is like the most stupid lineup like around. I mean, you got Springer, Semien, Bichette, Vlad Jr., Gurriel, Biggio, Tellez, Jansen. I love Jansen. I think he's really good defensively. I like this Blue Jays team. I feel like right around this is, I think you're going to see something like this. I think you're going to see anywhere from like 85 to like 89 wins. I think that's fair. I think you could hit 90 if things go well. I definitely think 90 is a possibility. I don't think they're going to be like this 95 to 100 win team. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be at that level. I definitely could be wrong, but I think right now I'm looking anywhere from 85 to 90 wins. That's what I'm looking at with this Blue Jays team. I think this Blue Jays team, this Red Sox team, and this Rays team, I think you're going to see these three teams duking it out for second place. I really think it's going to come down to those last couple of weeks where I think these three teams are a lot closer than people think. I know Pacoda doesn't like the Red Sox as much, but if you look at Fangraphs, they have the Red Sox at 85 wins, they have the Blue Jays at 88, and they have the Rays at 84. That's pretty close. I think these three teams are pretty close. I think it's going to be interesting. I think the Blue Jays, as of right now, they definitely have the firepower in that offense, but a long season, how is that starting pitching going to hold up? And the same goes to the Red Sox, too. How is that starting pitching going to hold up? Same thing with the Rays. How is that starting pitching going to hold up? Going to be interesting. Going to be interesting. So I am done talking about the Blue Jays. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. One of the more interesting teams to keep an eye on this year. Where do you think the Blue Jays are going to finish? 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or do you think they're going to win the division? Tell me what you think in the chat. I'm seeing Cool Cat. He's agreeing. 90 wins sounds about right for Cool Cat. James Scott, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? How do I feel about the Red Sox having LeBron James as a part owner with the Red Sox? I don't know. I'm not a big LeBron James fan, to be honest. I'm just not. I don't know. I don't know. There's just been some stuff where with LeBron James, man. I'm not like the biggest fan. I think there's a lot of good things that he does, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Can he maybe attract some talent for this Red Sox team? I don't know. So it's possible. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as people think. He's a part owner. I don't really think there's going to be like a lot. I don't think he's going to really have that much of an impact with this Red Sox team. I think it's just the name value. Obviously, it's LeBron James, as of right now, the best basketball player in the world. Obviously, so when you see LeBron James, buying a part of the Red Sox, I mean, yeah, sure, it's going to be headline news, but is he really going to have a lot of say? I don't think so. Michael Yanks, I am a LeBron James fan, or I hate LeBron James. I am a Kobe fan. Hey, man, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, man. There's a lot of people out there. I think, LeBron, I don't know. I could talk about it all day. I'm not going to get into it in this conversation. So, but for the Blue Jays, I'm seeing a lot of second place finishes. I'm seeing some first place finishes. James Scott with the 4th place finish. Could they end up falling short this year? I definitely think you could. I think these three teams, the Red Sox, the Rays, the Blue Jays, I think those three teams are going to be battling it out for second place. And then I think you could see one of those two, the other two teams, finish 4th. I think you could see the Blue Jays finish 4th. I think that's possible. I think you could see the Red Sox finish 3rd or 2nd. It's going to be interesting with those three teams. So, however, let's move on to the last team in this division. I will say I am leaning towards this team to win the division right now. I am leaning towards this team to being one of the better teams in the game this coming year. I am even maybe picking this team to maybe even win a World Series. I'm just saying. I haven't decided. I really like this team. I really like the New York Yankees. I think there's a lot to like about this Yankees team. I've seen a lot of Yankee teams over the years, and I'll tell you, I love a lot of this team. I think there's a lot to like. Let's go take a look at the Yankees right now. Let's see where Pacoda has them as of right now. Taking a look here. They have Pacoda has the Yankees winning the division with 97 wins. I actually think out of all the Pacoda projections, I actually think that's very accurate. I think that could be as dead on. I actually agree with that. I don't know if this Yankees team is going to be a 100-win team. There's a lot of question marks still. I do love the upside on this team, but I feel like this is actually one of the more dead-on projections with Pacoda. On Fangraphs, they have the Yankees winning 95 games. Could be one of the best teams in the game. I really like this team. I hate the Yankees as a Red Sox fan. I hate the Yankees, but I mean, give credit where it's due. They had themselves a good offseason. Let's go take a look here at the offseason tracker. Taking a look at the additions, they added some guys. I like some of these additions, man. Even like a Derek Dietrich, that's a guy that can come off the bench. I don't mind the addition of Robinson Chirinos. They brought in Jay Bruce, a power bat. I like Darren O'Day for the bullpen. I like that a lot. Corey Kluber, that was one of the bigger signings this year. I predicted Corey Kluber to go to the Yankees. At first, I predicted him to go to the Red Sox, and then I switched. I went to the Yankees. The infamous Jared Carrabis tweet saying that he felt very good about Corey Kluber going to the Red Sox, and then I tweeted back at him saying, because Jared Carrabis, you just said he was going to go to the Red Sox, now he's going to go to the Yankees. Ended up being my best tweet ever. Thank you, Jared Carrabis, for that one. But they added they brought back DJ LeMahieu. That was the big name they brought back. If we take a look here, taking a look. So they did have guys like Tanaka and Paxton. Tanaka going back to Japan, Paxton going to the Mariners, Canely going to the Dodgers. I believe Holder went to the Cubs. And then they brought back DJ LeMahieu. Brett Gardner they also brought back. I like Brett Gardner. So I think Brett Gardner to me is one of those guys. He just has to be with the Yankees, man. He's been with the Yankees forever. Finish your career with the Yankees. But I like a lot of these moves. Like I love these like little moves like Derek Dietrich and like a Jay Bruce and like a Darren O'Day. I think Darren O'Day was a really good addition for this bullpen. I like that he's a different look. He's, sure, you can look at the stats and whatnot with Darren O'Day. He's been very solid in the last couple of years, but I think with Darren O'Day, he's a different arm action. He comes at you with just a different, he's just different, and I kind of like that. I think the Yankees needed something like that in the bullpen where, I think they just needed something, and I think Darren O'Day is going to be a bit of a different look. He has experience pitching in the American League East. I thought that was a really good move, getting rid of Ottavino as well, bringing in O'Day. Basically, you brought in Darren O'Day he's basically your Ottavino, but he's going to be cheaper. And I think he's just going to be a better look out of that bullpen for them. I like that move. But let's go take a look at the Yankees themselves. So we're at 70 people in the chat right now. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been holding it strong, keeping the viewership up during this stream. I appreciate you all coming out to the American League East preview. If you are new, hit that subscribe button for me. We're trying so hard to get to 6K, man. We were on a roll, and then we just hit a brick wall. So definitely think about subscribing if you are new. But the Yankees, this lineup is very good. DJ LeMahieu, brought him back. Aaron Judge, can he stay healthy? The guy's been doing a ton of yoga this past offseason. Can that help? It looked like he dropped a few pounds too. Aaron Hicks, can he get back to being fully healthy? Giancarlo Stanton, another guy, health. That was kind of the story with this Yankees team for a while. I feel like they're getting that stigma away from them slightly a little bit to where they're not being centered around like all this injury talk right now. But again, Judge and Stanton, I saw a crazy stat. I don't remember the exact number, but I feel like the number where in the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years, I think it's 2 years, where the Yankees have only had 34 games or like 35 games in the last 2 years where Judge and Stanton have played in the same game. That's crazy. That's nuts. Where they got to keep these guys on the field. I'm not sure how they do it. Can you give Judge some more at-bats at DH? Maybe give Stanton a few more days off to kind of give him some rest? I'm not really sure how they do it, but they got to figure out a way to manage these guys. Luke Voit, a really good season last year. However, he's had the foot problems. Is he done with those? Gleyber Torres, still one of the most dynamic young players in the game. Not great defensively, but can he get that better this season? Gary Sanchez, one of the more interesting names this past season. He was talked about a lot. The Yankees tendering him a contract. I think the offense is there with Gary Sanchez. I'm not too worried about the offense. I think the power is going to be there. I'm wondering what the average is going to be, the on base. But I don't think you should worry about Gary Sanchez offensively. I'm paying attention to the guy's defense. That's what I'm paying attention to. The guy can throw out a lot of guys. I'm more worried about the blocking balls in the dirt. He's had good reports this spring. So, hey, can he finally put it together, put a full season together? I think the potential's there. Clint Frazier, I think one of the better outfielders in the game, still very young. Clint Frazier really earned his spot last year. I really like what Clint Frazier did last year. And Gio Urshela, I think he's one of the more underrated players in the game. I love this lineup with the Yankees. I think it's great. A lot to like about this lineup. And, another thing, too, DJ LeMahieu, one of the most important things about him, you're bringing him back, not just the bat, but he can move around. So he's going to give a lot of guys days off. I think DJ LeMahieu, I think he's the key to this team. Again, I think you need to keep him going. He's like that centerpiece, I think, to where he is so important to this team, where he can move around and he can give guys days off. Because if he goes down, oh boy, and then other guys start going down, that's trouble. So, Higashioka on the bench. Gardner's going to be the fourth guy. So I'm glad Gardner's coming back as that fourth guy. I love it. So Tauchman, love it. I mean, Tauchman, I'm looking for more of a bounce back year. Starting pitching. I really like this Yankee starting pitching staff. It starts with Garrett Cole, and that's why Garrett Cole, to me, I think is one of the biggest in the entire game. I think he means so much to this team. I think you could argue that Garrett Cole means more to this team than any other player in the entire league. I think Garrett Cole is the biggest key to this team overall when it comes to winning a World Series. I think this team, you could argue that the Dodgers are a better team than the Yankees. You could even argue that the Padres are a better team. Sure. But if you got Garrett Cole on top of his game, in the playoffs, I think this Yankees team, I think they could win it all. I'm just saying, I think he's the biggest key. If you get him going, I'm just saying, look out for this Yankees team. But behind him, Kluber. I am really, as a Red Sox fan, I'm not excited to see it, but as a baseball fan, I'm excited to see what Kluber can do. I really am. I really think Kluber, get him back to maybe like a mid-3 to a low-4 ERA kind of a guy. The Yankees need a number 2 guy. And Kluber, I think he has a lot of upside for this team. 1-year deal. I think if he can stay healthy, that's going to be huge for this team. And then you brought in Jameson Taillon as well. Jameson Taillon, a lot of upside coming back from Tommy John. I think Jameson Taillon, man, there's a lot of upside there. I like it. I like this 3, the Cole, Kluber, Taillon. If these guys just stay healthy, I think there's a lot to like. But then the Yankees surprisingly have a lot of pitching depth. You got Jordan Montgomery there. I think Jordan Montgomery is kind of like that swing man kind of a guy where he can come out of the bullpen some days. He can, have a start, 4th or 5th guy in the rotation. You got Domingo Germán coming back. That is going to be interesting. I'm waiting to see what Domingo Germán can do. But then you got Luis Severino coming back. I mean, Luis Severino, we all know what Luis Severino can do. We all know what he can do. So there's a lot of upside with this Yankees team. I love it. I love the upside with the Yankees starting pitching. The bullpen. This bullpen, I think, is actually really good. Aroldis Chapman, here's the thing. I think with Chapman, I think the Yankees need to get another option to where if Chapman is struggling in the playoffs, like he has shown, if you could have another guy come in and, kind of take some pressure off of him a little bit, where they could bring him in like different situations, I think that could be huge. I think Chapman, I still think he's one of the elite closers in the game. The guy puts up numbers every single year, but he keeps running into these issues where he's giving up the home run ball in the playoffs. I don't know. I just feel like if the Yankees had one more option, in the bullpen, I think this team is looking good. Is looking good. What is going on in the chat? Can you guys stop arguing? Here we go. So, Chad Green. I like Chad Green. I think that's really good. Justin Wilson, I thought, was a low-key pickup for them. Again, I already talked about Darren O'Day. I like that move, a different look. Loaisiga, I think, could be pretty good. Luis Sessa, hey, fine. But Zach Britton going down, he's going to be out for a little while. I think that was actually a pretty decent loss. I like Zach Britton a lot, but I think that could end up being, I think Zach Britton could end up being one of the best down the stretch additions. He's going to be like a trade deadline acquisition, but he's coming off of the disabled list or the injured list, now they like to call it. Zach Britton, I think this could be a blessing in disguise. He's going to have to work his way back from getting the bone spurs removed from his elbow. Luckily, it was just the bone spurs and it wasn't Tommy John, because I think that would have been a huge blow to this bullpen. But you're going to get him back eventually, probably after the trade deadline at some point. I would maybe even a little before then. So he's going to be out for a good 3-4 months. So we'll have to wait and see how he does coming back. But I think he does have like that sort of trade deadline acquisition sort of vibe with him, where we know what Zach Britton can do. I think this could be a blessing in disguise for the Yankees. Get him going down the stretch. I think this Yankees team, man, I like this Yankees team a lot. To me, right, they're my favorite to win the division. I think a lot of people are picking this Yankees team to win the division. I'm going to be honest with you. I really like this Yankees team for a possible World Series championship. I do. I do. I think a lot of people will disagree with me. I think if there's one team that out of the American League, I think is the most complete and has the most upside, a good mix of veterans, a good mix of young guys. Speaking of young guys, let's actually go take a look at some of these young guys with the Yankees. They got some guys down here. I mean, Jason Dominguez, you're probably not going to see him. Clark Schmidt and David Garcia. I didn't even mention these two guys. Why are these guys not listed in the rotation right now? But whatever. But obviously, these two guys, Clark Schmidt, David Garcia, these two guys could be huge for the Yankees this year. David Garcia was really good for the Yankees. Clark Schmidt, I think he could end up contributing a lot. Could you see an Oswald Peraza maybe? I still think that's a little far away. Luis Gil, could maybe you see him? Estevan Florial, can this guy do something? He's had a couple of tastes so far of the major leagues, but he hasn't really gotten a full thing going, so he's going to have to fight for some playing time. They got some guys. So, I mean, we take a look a little deeper. They got a guy like maybe Luis Medina, maybe. Albert Abreu, I think, is, according to MLB.com, he's projected for this year. I don't know. Could you maybe see some guys get pushed ahead a little bit? But there are some guys, like I said, Clark Schmidt, David Garcia mainly. I think they could be key guys for the Yankees this year. I like this team. I like this Yankees team. There's a lot to like. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the chat. Tell me what you think in the chat. Where do you think the Yankees are going to finish? Do you think they're going to finish first, second, third, fourth? Or could they maybe finish dead last? Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. What is going on in the chat? Why are people arguing? Stop arguing. Goodness gracious. It's baseball season. It is baseball season, my friend. Stop arguing in the chat. Here we go. So I'm seeing second place finishes. Jose Salazar, I saw you said something nice. Why are you a great YouTuber? One of my favorites. Jose Salazar, I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. Nikki, you think it's the best team? Ernie, man, I just want to talk some happy baseball. Can we talk happy baseball? Happy baseball. Yogi Dude, he's thinking first. Michael Yench with a third place finish. Michael Yench, third place for the Yankees. Rocky Adams, number 2. I mean, I don't know. I'm right now. Jose Santos with the first place finish. I'm thinking it's hard to pick against this Yankees team for the division, and for me, it's really hard. I don't know. I think this Yankees team has what it takes to get to a World Series. Giraffe Neck Mark, he finally did not pick the Mets to win the World Series, but he did pick the White Sox out of the American League. I don't know. We'll talk more about the White Sox tomorrow night. Definitely a really good team. I think the Yankees right now, I like the Yankees a little more. So, yeah, I agree, James. We just need some health on that team. But again, I feel like you're not hearing too much about the health. I mean, well, I don't know. Now you just had Zach Britton go down. So, I don't know. Maybe the injury bug is still bugging this Yankees team. We'll have to wait and see. But everyone, that's all I got for tonight. That was according to the viewership that I was seeing, we kept a pretty decent, steady pace of viewers. I saw up to 80 at one point. Oh, I'll tell you, everyone, that makes me feel better, man, because we were at one point, we were getting like 30 to 40 people in here in the last month or in the last few weeks. So the fact that I'm seeing around 80 people tonight, I was seeing a lot of, at times, in the 70s. Good to see. Everyone, hey, I'm so glad we're getting into the previews for the division. I've been waiting for each division. I've been waiting to get into these previews. I'm getting so excited for baseball season. It's such a happy time. Such a happy time. I can't wait for my predictions. I'm telling you. I'm going to make a lot of people mad, and I can't wait. Everyone, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. If you are new in here right now, you have yet to see, or if you have yet to subscribe, really think about hitting that subscribe button for me. I'm trying to get to 6K by opening day. So we are within 40 people. Hit that like button for me, everyone. That's going to help this get out to more baseball fans, especially the ones that weren't able to make it in tonight. They'll be able to watch this back later on. Go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk some baseball throughout the day. All right, everyone. It is time for me to go to bed. I am very tired. We just talked a lot of baseball in the American League East. Come back tomorrow night. I'll be talking American League Central. We're going to be talking White Sox, Twins, Royals, Tigers. Who is it? What? I guess missed out a team. White Sox, Royals, Tigers. I'm tired. I can't think of what I'm talking about. Come back for the American League Central tomorrow, and we'll talk some more baseball tomorrow night. Everyone, thank you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. As always, have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.